Breaking news at 11. President Biden has COVID. New details about the treatment the 79-year-old is receiving. Plus, anti-police demonstrations are scheduled for later today at the state capitol. What protesters are demanding after Denver police officers hurt 6 bystanders in a weekend shooting. Brace for a potential mortgage meltdown. Why experts say another rate hike from the Fed could be a terrible mistake. And
I just immediately ran around the side, dropped my stuff in the front lawn, and got her out of the vehicle first.
a local letter carrier becomes a hero when he discovers a girl and her mom are in danger. Thanks so much for joining us for Denver 7 News at 11. I'm Jason Grenauer. We want to begin with an update on that breaking news. President Joe Biden tested positive for COVID-19 this morning. Now, this is video from yesterday when he announced executive actions on climate change. Now, we're told the president has very mild symptoms. He is fully vaccinated and double boosted. He tweeted this morning, "Folks, I'm doing great. Thanks for your concern." Mr. Biden is isolating in the White House, but is able to continue on with all of his normal duties. The White House says he is taking Paxlovid, a drug that will reduce the length of his illness. Moving now to our state capitol, where at 6 o'clock tonight, people will demand more police accountability and transparency after Denver officers injured bystanders in a shooting over the weekend. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta has a preview.
They want their voices heard, they want accountability, but they also want one more thing. They want the creation of a civilian police accountability council so that when shootings like the one from this past weekend happen, there are already community members ready to look into how exactly that happened. Activists are also calling for the firing of the police officers who were involved in Sunday morning's shooting. They also want unedited video from police-worn cameras of that night released, as well as any other video the department may have. DPD did release still shots from that video of that shooting, something activists say is unacceptable. They say they want to hold police accountable and stop something like this from happening again.
Whether police do nothing, like in the case of Uvalde, or whether police overreact and do something like in the case of Denver, the consistent trend is that innocent people are left either seriously injured or dead. Denver is held up as one of the few states that passed legislation after 2020 and tried to increase accountability, but clearly there's still a lot of work to be done.
As for that rally, it's scheduled for 6 tonight. It's going to be right at the state capitol on the West Side steps, and the weekend is only getting closer and closer. That area where the shooting happened, it's typically a busy one with all of those bars. Coors Field not too far away either. I called Blake Street Tavern. It's only a couple blocks away from where the shooting happened. The owner telling me he's had security for some time. He doesn't plan on upping that security. Other bars in the area telling me the exact same thing. In Denver, I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Now, we want to be very clear about some of the big questions we are still trying to get answers to. Like how, just like demonstrators tonight, we, and I'm sure you at home, would want to see video of that shooting, but so far, police are refusing to release that video, citing the need to protect the investigation. We've only seen still photos from one officer's body cam showing the suspect, Jordan Waddy, with his hand on the top of a gun. Now, police say this gun was recovered at the scene, a 10mm semi-automatic pistol. Police say there's no evidence Waddy ever fired a shot. So why shoot him? Police say he flashed the end of the gun at them and they feared for their safety. And we know 3 officers fired a total of 7 shots. 2 of them turned on their body cameras after the shooting. We will continue to ask why that is. The 3rd officer had their camera running the whole time. 7 shots fired with a crowd around, officers with their body cameras off. That raised some questions about training for us. Now, we first introduced you to New Wave Security Solutions after the Uvalde shooting. They train local officers with virtual reality. But the CEO says even that can't cover every scenario police face out on the streets.
We never shoot to kill. We shoot to stop a threat. The perfect scenario does not exist, but if one did exist, it would be this person is behind a concrete wall and there's nobody else around, and he puts his weapon down and they take him into custody.
Matt Pyle said he knows many out there are asking themselves, how do we avoid something like this from happening again? Well, he thinks one way is simple, just more training. Pyle said he thinks running through different training scenarios over and over can only help officers, especially high stress scenarios. Now, we will be at tonight's rally at the Capitol and follow this investigation closely. You can stay up to date on air on our website, thedenverchannel.com, and the Denver 7 Plus app for your favorite streaming device. New at 11, Englewood police just arrested the man they say shot at this business park overnight. Air Tracker 7 was over the scene of the shooting at Tejon and Umatilla earlier this morning. Officers say the suspect was in a stolen car and drove through a fence to get away, nearly hitting an officer. Another police officer shot at the suspect but didn't hit him. Some more breaking news now. A federal judge just sentenced one of the officers connected to George Floyd's death to 2.5 years in prison for violating Floyd's civil rights. Now, that's slightly more than Thomas Lane's attorney was asking for. He argued the rookie cop was the least culpable of the 4 officers involved. This morning, the Cherry Creek School District is notifying parents that a former girls softball coach was arrested for soliciting nude photos of an underage girl. Police say Pablo Severson contacted a girl in Virginia. She killed herself. Severson was a coach for the girls softball team at Cherry Creek High School and the Colorado Sticks girls softball club. He was immediately fired by the Cherry Creek School District when they learned of his arrest. Well, a Wheat Ridge letter carrier is being hailed as a hero for rescuing a little girl over the weekend. Andrew Russell was on Fenton Street Saturday night when he heard the girl screaming. She was inside a parked car with her mom, who was passed out behind the wheel after taking fentanyl. Russell got the girl out of the car and called 911.
Yeah, it hit a chord a lot of different ways, but mainly in the sense that, yeah, anytime I hear a child's voice that sounds anything like that, it's pretty immediate. Just right place at the right time. I was just doing my job. I happened to be in the area and I was really glad that I was.
Now, everyone here is going to be okay. Russell has only been on the job for 2 months. Now, adding some context and depth here, overdose rates have soared during the COVID-19 pandemic, and a new CDC study indicates deadly overdoses are hitting some communities harder than others. Now, researchers found overall drug overdose death rates increased 30% between 2019 and 2020. However, they jumped 44% among Black people and 39% among American Indian and Alaskan Native people. The CDC also found significant disparities by age group as well as gender. Young Black people ages 15 to 24 had a larger increase in overdose deaths than any other group, and overdose deaths among senior Black men was nearly 7 times higher than that of senior white men. Now, the current rates are on top of existing disparities, which researchers say might come from unequal access to treatment, socioeconomic inequalities, and other social factors. The stage is set for a wild finale to the Capitol riots hearing. Tonight at 6 o'clock, we'll carry the Select Committee's final planned meeting. Sources tell ABC News that one of the bombshells will be President Trump rehearsing a video he released to the nation the day after. M. Wynn has a preview.
Returning in prime time, what's expected to be a dramatic 2-hour hearing by the House Select Committee investigating the January 6 attack on the Capitol. The panel making its case of what they call Donald Trump's grave dereliction of duty on the day a mob of his supporters attacked the U.S. Capitol.
The 187 minutes that he was in the White House while this beautiful building and the Temple of Democracy behind me was under attack.
In a pre-recorded message after the deadly riot, Trump condemned the attack and requested a peaceful transfer of power.
Serving as your president has been the honor of my lifetime.
But committee members say behind-the-scenes outtakes tell a different story. ABC News learning the committee could show some unaired footage, sources say, that showed the former president struggling to admit the election was over and to condemn rioters.
Tempers must be cooled and calm restored.
Committee members also saying they'll play more of the interview from Trump's White House counsel Pat Cipollone, who reportedly pleaded for him to send rioters home.
I felt it was my obligation to continue to push for that.
2 other former Trump officials who resigned shortly after January 6 expected to testify publicly. And in the parallel investigation by the Justice Department into the Capitol riots, which some have criticized as moving too slowly and not targeting senior officials, Attorney General Merrick Garland had this to say.
No person is above the law in this country. Nothing stops us.
Even a former president.
I don't know how to, maybe I'll say that again. No person is above the law in this country.
The Department of Justice has charged more than 850 people for their role in the Capitol attack. M. Wynn, ABC News, Washington.
Coming up next and new this morning, the American dream is pushed further out of reach in Denver than most other metros. The huge jump in average mortgage payments here. And as the Fed prepares for another rate hike next week, experts explain why it could be a terrible mistake.